The United States and Russia tried to reset relations and discuss stopping the war in Ukraine. Secretary of State Marco Rubio held talks with his counterpart from Russia at a meeting in Saudi Arabia. Both sides agreed to start working towards an end to the fighting that has killed thousands of people. White House Correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen.
Tracy, good evening to you. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said today President Donald Trump is the only leader in the world who could have made today's talks in Saudi Arabia happen, adding President Trump campaigned on ending the conflict in Ukraine.
As Ukraine slowly loses ground against more numerous Russian troops, in Riyadh, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff hold talks with Russian officials. Rubio tells reporters in order to end any conflict, there has to be concessions made by all sides. And he said they agreed on what the goal is.
The goal is to bring an end to this conflict in a way that's fair, enduring, sustainable, and acceptable to all parties involved. What that looks like, well, that's what the ongoing engagement is going to be all about.
Rubio also said today's meeting sets the table for future conversations.
I came away today convinced that they are willing to begin to engage in a serious process to determine how and how quickly and through what mechanism can an end be brought to this war. Whether we can ultimately reach that outcome will obviously depend on every side in this conflict's willingness to agree to certain things.
Rubio's Russian counterpart, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, said Russia would not accept troops from a NATO country in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the Russian-American meeting came as a surprise. He canceled a planned trip to Saudi Arabia after Ukraine was not invited to take part in the talks. Zelensky says he expects to meet with U.S. representatives in Kyiv. Trump's special envoy, Keith Kellogg, is due to arrive in the Ukrainian capital tomorrow. Kellogg met today with the president of the European Commission and the president of the European Council in Brussels to brief them about the negotiations. European allies have also expressed concerns they are being sidelined.
The European allies have been a consistent part of this process since the beginning, and the president spoke to President Macron just yesterday.
And late this afternoon, President Donald Trump, currently in Florida, weighed in on why he wants to see the war in Ukraine come to an end. Here's what he told reporters.
I want to see if I can save maybe millions of lives. This could even end up in a World War III. I mean, to be honest with you, you've been hearing now Europe is saying, well, I think we're going to go in and we're going to go. All of a sudden, you're going to end up in World War III over something that should have never happened.
Now, today's meeting between U.S. officials and Russian officials in Saudi Arabia also meant to pave the way for a possible future summit between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.